The past year has been quite a confusing one for some Sony fans, with the company rolling out the Xperia Z3, then the Z4 exclusive to the Japanese market, then they made the same exact phone available to the rest of the world, but with a different name, the Z3 Plus, since the company figured that the handset didn't introduce many noteworthy improvements over the Z3. Then we find out that the company is going to leap straight for the Z5, completely avoiding the Z4 for the global market. So I thought, why not talk about the Xperia Z5? Hey, what's up guys, you're watching TechAM here, and here are all the rumours that you need to know of the upcoming Sony Xperia Z5. Diving into the specs, we can already tell how much of a powerhouse the Z5 is going to be, taking advantage of the hot Snapdragon 820, which was actually just made official last week, backed by 4GB of RAM. I'm expecting the Z5 to be one of the best performers out there, and when I say hot, I don't want the 820 to be hot as the 810, if you know what I mean. For those of you who don't know what I mean, Qualcomm's current flagship processor, the Snapdragon 810, has a major overheating issue, which was the reason behind some companies, including LG, having to ditch it and opt for other processors for their flagship devices. This heat issue was due to the CPU throttling way too much and way too severely after just a few minutes of regular usage. Now that's for a whole topic in itself, but it was quite worthy of mentioning because that caused the Snapdragon 810 to function even lesser than the 801 at times, which is kinda depressing. But hey, everyone learns from their mistakes, right? So all we can hope for is that Qualcomm has fixed this issue with the release of the 820. Now looking on the bright sides of things, the 820 will come with the latest and greatest Adreno 530, which should provide excellent graphics. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the Xperia Z5 might be an absolute powerhouse, and another rumour which supports this is an addition of a ginormous battery. By ginormous I mean 4500 mAh, which is relatively huge compared to other smartphones. Now, I think this could be a signal for either one of two things. Sony is going to be sticking to a 1080p display, equating to a really long battery life, or Sony is going to step up from the Xperia Z3 Plus and enter the Z5 into the realm of Quad HD, which I guess is going to be the more likely option, because come on, we're over halfway through 2015 now. But the thing is, a UAP concerning the Z5 was leaked, revealing 3 different model numbers, and the obvious assumption one could make here is that Sony is planning on releasing 3 new smartphones. These include the Xperia Z5, Z5 Compact and the Z5 Plus, with the Z5 Plus carrying a 4K display. Yep, a 4K display on a smartphone. We all knew it was coming. 801 ppi on a 5.5 inch display. Now everyone is going to have different opinions on this, so tell me down below in the comment section what you think about a 4K display on a smartphone. Do you think it's just overkill, or do you think it's pretty cool? Personally, being a total spec head, I think it's pretty sick, as long as it doesn't hit on the battery too much, and you can still squeeze in a day's worth of usage in a day. Moving on to the crust of the smartphone, the Xperia Z5 should feature the same sleek omni-balanced design, which we are quite used to seeing from previous generations of the Xperia lineup. And as shown by the leaked image, the Xperia Z5, which is alongside the iPhone 5s, may feature a slightly larger power button, which is really interesting. But what's more interesting than the size of the lock button is having a fingerprint sensor built into the lock button, which is what Sony may be heading towards this year. And in my opinion, that's probably one of the most convenient places for allocating a fingerprint scanner, since your thumb is quite a lot of the time on the lock button. Moving on, the Xperia Z5 is also supposedly going to be featuring USB Type-C, which I am really excited about. I guess this could also allow for more publicity for the company, since, at least amongst the tech community, USB Type-C is one of the main areas where quite a lot of the hype is focused towards, at least when it comes to smartphones. We saw it on the OnePlus 2, we should probably most likely definitely see it on the next Nexuses, which I guess leaves Sony to play their move and let us see it on the Z5. Of course, how can we go on about a Sony phone without mentioning anything about the cameras? So the next Xperia Z is tipped to be accompanied by a 21 megapixel Exmor RS sensor at the back, capable of shooting at 4K. Not too much information is known yet as of now, but I'm pretty pumped since the camera quality on the Xperia Z3 Plus was outstanding. And for the selfies, there may be a 5 megapixel wide angle snapper. Expect the launch of the Xperia Z5, and probably as well as the compact and plus variant of the device, at IFA in Berlin this September. And just to leave the best till last, Sony is not going to be abandoning a micro SD card slot anytime soon. Just another reason for Samsung fans to give Sony a shot. So that's going to do for me in this video guys. Be sure to smash the like button down below if you enjoyed. And also feel free to leave me any comments about the Xperia Z5, which is pretty much almost on the horizon right now, and I am really excited about it. And also subscribe to this channel as well for more tech videos like this, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. So that's going to do it for me today in this video. Be sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And also feel free to drop me any comments down below if you have any about the Xperia Z5 or Z5 Plus or Z5 Compact, because they're pretty much just arising from the horizon. Does that make sense?